Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would everyone make sure that your cell phones are on silent, please? At a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees, the Village of Fredonia duly called and held on the 24th day of February 2014 at 7:30 p.m. in the Trustees' Room, 2nd floor, Village Hall, Fredonia, New York, and public notice of the time and place of this meeting has been given to the news media and conspicuously posted in one or more designated public locations in accordance with Section 104 of the Open Meetings Law.
Whereas members of this board present at the meeting have read the official minutes of the Board of Trustees regular meeting of February 10th, 2014. Now therefore be it resolved, the board approves the minutes as entered in the official minutes, and be it further resolved that the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Okay, minutes have been passed. Reports.
There's two reports tonight. The fire department report for the month of January. 156 calls total, of which 101 were rescue and EMS, 28 false alarms and false calls, 12 good intents, 6 hazardous conditions, and a couple miscellaneous. The second report is the Code Enforcement Building Inspector's report for the month of January 2014. Let's see. Total fees collected $5,170, of which $1,590 were permit fees, $2,655 rental fees, certificates of compliance $925. There were on rentals 2 permits issued, 10 inspections, 17 renewals, and I guess 9 permits. Building permits generated $1,590 in revenue. Estimated cost of the work was $329,000.
And correspondence.
Correspondence was received from the Secretary of the M.M. Fenner Hose Company to add the name of Daniel Sullivan to the active rolls effective immediately.
Be it resolved that the name Daniel Sullivan, Cleveland Avenue, Fredonia, New York, Fredonia is hereby added to the active rolls of the M.M. Fenner Hose Company effective immediately.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Welcome on board, Daniel.
Correspondence dated February 14, 2014 was received from Marcia Finley, business manager of the 1891 Fredonia Opera House, requesting the use of West Barker Common, the gazebo, and the closing of Church Street between Temple and Park for the Bach Barbecue Bake Sale and Basket Auction fundraiser Saturday, June 7, 2014 from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Be it resolved at the request from Marcia Finley, business manager of the 1891 Fredonia Opera House, Inc., to use West Barker Common, the gazebo, and closing of Church Street from Temple Street to Park Place for a Bach Barbecue Bake Sale and Basket Auction fundraiser to support the presentation of the Bach and Beyond Baroque Music Festival on Saturday, June 7, 2014 from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. is hereby approved with the stipulation that the group will be responsible for cleanup and is subject to the direction of the police department in the village, receiving a certificate of insurance in the amount of $1 million, naming the village as an additional insured, which the village has received.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Now is the time for public portion. If anyone would like to address this board at this time, please state your name. Seeing no one. Resolutions.
Be it resolved that the request from the Pomfret Town Court for permission to paint the court clerk's office and the judge's office, including patching of all holes, is hereby approved at no cost to the village of Fredonia.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia desires to override the property tax cap if the village board determines it necessary to do so, to adopt a proper and sustainable budget for the Village of Fredonia for its coming fiscal year commencing June 1, 2014, which cap is set forth in Section C3 of the General Municipal Law, and whereas proposed local law number 1 of 2014 of the Village of Fredonia in its final form is now upon the desk of the members of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia which is entitled A Local Law Authorizing a Property Tax Levy in Excess of the Limit Established in General Municipal Law, Section C3, for the village fiscal year commencing June 1, 2014, and whereas said proposed local law reads as follows. Section 1, title. This local law shall be entitled A Local Law Authorizing a Property Tax Levy in Excess of the Limit Established in General Municipal Law, Section C3, for the village fiscal year commencing June 1, 2014. Section 2, legislative intent. It is the intent of this local law to allow the village of Fredonia to adopt a budget for the fiscal year commencing June 1, 2014, that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the tax levy limit as defined by the General Municipal Law, Section C3. Section 3, authority. This local law is adopted pursuant to Subdivision 5 of the General Municipal Law, Section 3C, which expressly authorizes a local government's governing body to override the property tax cap for the coming fiscal year by the adoption of a local law approved by a vote of 60% of said governing body. Section 4, tax levy limit override. The Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia, County of Chautauqua, is hereby authorized to adopt a budget for the fiscal year commencing June 1, 2014, that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the amount otherwise prescribed in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Section 5, severability. If a court determines that any clause, sentence, paragraph, subdivision, or part of this local law or the application thereof, or to any person, firm, or corporation, or circumstance is invalid or unconstitutional, the court's order or judgment shall not affect, impair, or invalidate the remainder of the local law, but shall be confined in its operation to the clause, sentence, paragraph, subdivision, or part of this local law, or in its application to the person, individual, firm, or corporation, or circumstance directly involved in the controversy in which such judgment or order shall be rendered. Section 6, effective date. This local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of the State of New York. Now, therefore, be it resolved that a public hearing be held before this Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia on the 10th day of March, 2014, at 7:30 p.m. in the Trustees' Room, Village Hall, Fredonia, New York, to consider the question of the enactment of said proposed local law, and be it further resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized to cast notice of said public hearing on said proposed local law to be published in the Observer as required by law.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
It's passed. Okay.
Be it resolved that Richard R. St. George, Village Administrator Treasurer, is hereby authorized to retain Fiscal Advisors and Marketing, Inc. of Syracuse, New York, to serve as the Village of Fredonia Financial Advisor for securing financing for the energy performance contract is proposed by Wendell Energy Services, LLC.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Whereas New York General Municipal Law, Article 5G, Section 119-0, empowers municipal corporations defined in Article 5G, Section 119-N, to include school district boards of cooperative educational services, counties, cities, towns, and villages, and districts to enter into, amend, cancel, and terminate agreements for the performance among themselves or for one or the other of their respective functions, powers, and duties on a cooperative or contract basis. Whereas the Village of Fredonia wishes to invest certain of its available investments funds in cooperation with other corporations and/or districts pursuant to a municipal cooperation agreement approved by the governing board of the New York Cooperative Liquid Asset Security System, NICLAS. Whereas the Village of Fredonia wishes to assure the safety and liquidity of its funds. Whereas an amended and restated NICLAS Municipal Cooperative Agreement dated as of March 14, 2014, amended agreement has been prepared and approved by the governing body of NICLAS and presented to the village for approval. And whereas in summary, the amended agreement will serve to 1, bring the NICLAS investment policy into conformity with all applicable New York State General Municipal Public Funds Investment Guidelines. 2, streamline the steps for certain amendments by empowering the governing board of NICLAS to amend certain operational aspects of the amended agreement, including the investment policy, which fully conforms to New York State law. 30 days notice to participants is required for such changes. 3, allow for the potential creation of other investment options as market conditions change or improve over time. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved as follows. 1, that the said agreement dated March 14, 2014 to the NICLAS Municipal Cooperative Agreement as amended and restated as of April 23, 2012 is hereby approved. The mayor of the Village of Fredonia is hereby authorized to execute and deliver the cooperative investment agreement in the name of and on behalf of the Village of Fredonia by signing the acceptance form provided by NICLAS.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Passed.
Whereas a proposed agreement has been presented to this board by Demand Response Partners of 260 Delaware Avenue, Buffalo, New York, which will allow the village to receive payments in exchange for reducing electricity usage at the village wastewater treatment plant, and whereas the demand for electricity has been growing over the past decade and has outpaced the construction of power plants and transmission lines, resulting in a demand that has outpaced supply, and whereas the demand response program is intended to help maintain the reliability of the electric grid and is crucial in helping to avoid blackouts during peak usage, and whereas is structured to provide the village with a revenue stream to support the village wastewater treatment plant by allowing the village to reduce its energy demand and to be compensated for this in time of energy emergency demands as set forth in the proposed agreement. And whereas there is no cost to the village to enroll in the demand response program, and there is no out-of-pocket expense should the village decide not to perform if a demand response event is called. And whereas the proposed agreement allows the village to terminate the agreement, now therefore be it resolved that the agreement is hereby approved, and the mayor is hereby authorized to sign said agreement on behalf of the village of Fredonia.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Passed.
Be it resolved that the attached schedule of budget transfers prudent to Section 5-520 of the village law is hereby approved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Any comments, statements from the board? I'd like to congratulate Josh McIlvain for being on Jeopardy today. I'm sure he did an outstanding job. The people in this room are probably the only ones that don't know the outcome yet. So Josh, we're proud of you.
We still
And
got 20 minutes.
oh,
Starts at
Keep-
7:30.
keep hitting that button, Josh. Okay. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Mrs. Jones.
No further business, to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second that motion.